second. All right,
Oh shit, green actually has higher power than toughness. Fuck.
Yeah, let's run through green, and then we'll probably be able to just burn through.
There's a color called green?
Rest of the stuff pretty quickly. There is, in fact, I know, despite the last few sets, there is actually a color called green. I know. It's fucking sad. So, let's just start right away with a very green card. An incredibly green card. Birthing Hulk.
Man, I remember when this card used to be a rare.
This is not quite enough for 7 mana.
No.
It's not, but this card, it's still pretty decent. Like,
okay.
7 power
If you have
and 6...
to play green...
I don't know, man. 7 power and 6 toughness for 7 is pretty good. And then those 2 of those can ramp. And then also, if you get lucky, you can do the regenerate stuff. Like, it's not nearly at the level of the colorless, adds with generic-ass colorless stuff, but it's
I think
fine.
it's more... I think the way it's, like, design-wise, it's meant that it comes with a pre-built regen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
works,
that is available.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely for 7. I don't think it's something that's going to swing you a game at 7 mana. But
I just look at that 4 toughness and I see Grasp of Darkness. And
Man, I played a lot of 7 mana cards the last set, and like those 7 mana cards were absurdly good.
yeah,
To be fair, though, a lot of those 7 mana stuff aren't, like, they're going to be a lot scarcer now, unfortunately.
yeah. All right, well, let's keep scooting along. Ruin in their wake. 2 cost sorcery. It is devoid. And search your
I
library.
miss your rampant growth.
Yeah. Search
why
your
can't we have
library
rampant
for-
Call me, honey.
Search your library for a
I'm
basic
sorry, Rampant
land
Growth.
card.
I didn't appreciate you
Search your
enough.
library for a basic land card and reveal it. You may put that card onto the battlefield tapped if you control a land named Wastes. Otherwise, put that card in your hand, then shuffle your library. So this
You know what?
sucks.
I didn't mean to
thought it
forget
was
your
developed.
anniversary, rampant growth. I'm so sorry.
I'm not a developer. This card should have cost 1.
No, it's fine.
No.
No, not 1.
It's strictly worse rampant growth, but the thing is, rampant growth is nuts.
Hey, you remember? Well, there was it was in Innistrad, that 1 mana Caravan Vigil, I think it was.
That card
With
sucked.
Morbid?
Yeah, and it had the text where you can put it in your hand, but if something died, it goes onto the battlefield instead.
Yeah, that card sucked.
Untapped. And I think that, like, for 1 mana, saying that if you have a forest to pay for green and a waste to have it enter the battlefield tapped, it can cost 1 mana.
Okay, so
This
here's
thing
the, here's the thing for me. Here's the thing for me specifically. Looking at this, we'll probably have a discussion about it when we hit lands. You have to pull a waste and put a waste in your deck, and God, I'm iffy on pulling waste, because if it is like a splash, I'm really hoping I don't have to run a waste. I'm hoping I have some other source that'll run. So for sealed, this blows.
Well, yeah, in sealed, like, the thing is, in sealed, the highest number of wastes you're going to have is 4.
Yeah.
And that's extremely lucky.
Well,
no, you could get foils.
I will point out, though, that the one thing I will say is that the second part of this card is still fine. Like, even if you don't get the first part, fixing is exceedingly important, especially in sealed, because the dream you want to aim for in sealed is to play every color that you potentially can. And the thing is, this can actually fetch wastes, because it doesn't specify a type.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't say type.
And
Okay.
Sylvan's Scrying was, certainly playable in Battle for Zendikar.
Yeah, and the fact that this has the possibility to put stuff on the battlefield goes up. And in fact, I'd say that Sylvan Scrying, if you've managed to get one of those in your Battle for Zendikar pack, is itself going to be much better in, like, this particular sealed format compared to the previous one, and just going forward, because synergy doesn't matter that much anymore. You're not trying to synergize yourself out. You're just trying to play good stuff as much as you can.
I still don't like this. I still really don't like this, but
no, it's not. It's wonderful, but it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, again, remember,
and if you have the weights to play, it's great.
I'm a black, white, green player usually, with an emphasis on black. So, like, this is not something that appeals to me in the slightest. But it's a workable ramp.
But the next card.
The next card.
I love the name of this card because it says exactly what it is.
Scion Summoner 2009 TC. It's a good year for Scion.
He summons a Scion. It's what he does.
It's a 2/2 for 3 that creates a 1/1 token, and this is a very common type of creature in this set and the last set. It is
really,
a
this
1/1 colorless. Yeah, not so much this set, but last set they were all over the place. It's a 1/1 colorless token that has a special ability on it, which is you can sacrifice it, which means you just decide it's dead, and then it is dead. And it adds a colorless to your mana pool. So those are just kind of little nice ramp nerds, basically.
The only other common card in the set that makes Scions is that blue counter spell.
That's it? Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really went down on the Scions. Yeah.
Weird.
So
Anyway,
you're going to really want those in your Battle for Zendikar pack if you're going heavy in that direction.
Anyway, 3 power, 3 toughness for 3 mana.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
that's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that is generally speaking good. Like, that's better than, like, I wouldn't say it's better than a 3 mana 3/3 just because you can block 2/2s that way pretty easily, but the ramp option on this is pretty good. And also, this can theoretically fix off-color activations.
Yeah, and the other thing too is it is in green. That's the only thing. So green, you expect a little bit chuftier of creatures, but like, it's still fine. I still have no qualms with it. All right, stalking drone.
Like this guy.
I like it.
Yep, I like it.
It's an upside bear.
2/2 for 2. Happens to be devoid and has an ability to make it trade better good. Okay.
It's a cute little root wall with an eye on his shoulder.
Yeah, Basking Rootwalla has always been a pretty good card.
Beloff Pup, a 3/1 for 2, which
That's a good dog.
that's good enough.
Baloth. I love you, Baloth. He's
Man, Balos
you
are my
kick the heck
favorite.
out of that frog.
I love Balos.
And then if it has a +1/+1 counter, it has trample, which
Like from
doesn't
support.
seem super relevant.
Support
comparatively.
is pretty heavy, and so green-white is theoretically the support deck.
Yeah, I just can't even really think of like a 4/2 having trample being like a huge deal since most
A
things
4/2
can
for
block it
2
once.
though.
Yeah, 4/2 for 2 if you get it and play a 4/2 for 2 with trample. If you do get that activated, is really good. But I don't know if the trample comes into play as much, but the 4/2 for 2 with an upside is good. A 3/1 for 2 is fine. So,
I mean, yeah, the base body on this is perfectly good. Like 3/1s for 2s have been traditionally, like we were just talking about the fact that the white one in Battle for Zendikar was pretty good, even though it had that text box that didn't matter much with the Eldrazi spawn.
and that's
Like,
what this is too. Yeah.
yep. So if you get if you get the counter on this, like even if they block it with a 2/2, at least you get the benefit of punching them in the face for 2.
Yeah. It's good. It's playable. It's totally serviceable.
Good pup.
Bonds of Mortality. When
Don't
Bonds
play
of
this
Mortality
card.
Says draw a
enters the
card.
battlefield, draw a card. Creatures your opponents control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. This is
Which aren't really an ability that's relevant at all in this set.
holy shit. This is situational. This isn't even sideboard. This is you get handed it at the end of pack 3 and go, God damn it! Even if it's in color. So like.
This is a card not really intended for limited. It can draw you cards, and maybe that second ability might somehow be sideboard relevant. I can't imagine it, maybe, or really, but
This card
don't bother.
exists with flavor, so just you gotta.
It's just there for flavor, and it's there for like commander. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Don't play
Let's
that.
move on.
All right, Canopy Gorger, 6/5 for 6. In limited, again,
Doesn't need a big man.
in limited, I am fine with this because a 6/5 is a threat. In limited, that is a huge threat. That'll take out so many things. In like another format, probably not so good, but in limited, 6/5 for 6 is gonna deal with a lot of problems and is going to be something that your opponent has to deal with. The other nice thing is you might notice we have a lot of like 7s and 8s or whatever, and then we have a lot of like 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's a little bit of a weak middle ground, it seems like, in this set, because we're on the last color. Like, remember,
We'll keep a lot of that's filled in with the colorless stuff.
with
That's the
colorless
thing.
and rares, yeah. But like either way, this is fine. I think this is playable in a draft.
If you need something for your top end, it's
Yeah,
Crowns always been there.
not exciting in the slightest, but if your opponent sees it, they have to do something about it. It's fine enough. Elemental Uprising.
I don't know how I feel about this at all.
I don't like it.
In the past, these effects have not been good.
In general, they haven't worked
I mean,
that well.
this is a better version of that than we've had in the past because it has the must be blocked clause, which has some additional value. And as you've mentioned before, Kamna, you can cast this on your awoken creatures.
Yeah.
And then they
some decks it'll be fine, but I think for the most part it's weh.
Yeah.
I'm not big on it. Like, if your opponent has one creature on the field that's causing you all sorts of problems and it's like a 3/2 or something, you can do it. But if it's anything that can trade with a 4/4, then you have to do this and lose a land for removal, and that's starting to cost a lot. So I'm not too.
Now, if it was like a straight up lure on it, then it could win games.
Oh, like
if it's a lure, it'd be fantastic. Yeah,
but then it wouldn't be a common because that's nuts for common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be like a rare or something.
I'd probably put it on common. You do you, Elemental, with crab claws.
That's basically an overrun to some degree.
All right, so Embodiment of Insight. That is a 4/4 for 5, which is okay. Vigilance, which 4/4 for 5 with Vigilance is quite good in limited. Mm-hmm. Land creatures you control have Vigilance, which if you have land creatures is quite good because that means you get to hit people with your lands and then also block with them.
And tap them for mana.
And tap them for mana. I guess. Whatever, Jeb. I guess. This motherfucker tapping his land for mana. Yeah.
Celestial Colonnade is a card they printed.
Whatever, bro. No, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, which is the landfall trigger, you may have target land you control become a 3/3 with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. This has a really goofy synergy that I kind of love in that you can use these creatures it creates on landfall to attack and then still use them for land in second main phase. Even without that though, this is just good, right? Like I
like it, yeah.
I'm not out of my mind here. Like this is solid. It's a 4/4 vigilance for 5, which is great. Like in limited, that's pretty great. And it gets landfall triggers that are pretty fucking good. And it has an incredibly beneficial... Huh?
This is the sort of thing you want to do on 5 mana, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you do have anything else as far as like... as far as any kind of land creatures go, any landfall triggers, like your BFZ pack has a lot of awakening shit in it. Cool. This is really good with that.
I would also point out like how good this is like late game because like all of your land drops, which would normally be just like, oh god, I'm at 8 mana, I don't need any goddamn land at this point. Fuck. Like this makes them actually like, oh, actually, like no, that.
Oh look, it's a lightning bolt.
Yeah, like that's true in general for landfall cards, but it's especially true for one like here because all of your land are elementals, and that's great.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Yeah, I like it. Harvester Troll, 4 cost. It is a 2/3 for 4, which is a little under stat line. When Harvest Troll enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature or land. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Harvester Troll.
That's okay.
I like it. Especially if you have some Scions, or if you do have, some form of like late game and you don't need lands really, you can get a 4/5 off of that.
If you just got a lot of lands in hand already,
and keep in mind there is still a little element of a black-green sacrifice deck, black-green sacrifice / graveyard deck, and this does play with that.
Yeah,
there are cards that care about that in Battle for Zendikar, and you're still getting some packs of that, So that is there. Like you have that 1 green mana for the devoid. When this dies, you get the Scion. So and
the black one that dies to the black bear that dies for a Scion too.
Yeah, yep. I would say if you're competent in your ability to trigger the ability with like less downside, this is pretty good.
And also late game, you could just sacrifice lands because who cares?
Exactly. So I think this is okay. It's something that you will mulligan if you draw off the bat for sure, but it's okay.
Yeah, on turn 4, this is not something you want to be casting unless you have a Scion or something that's worth. Because you do not want to be sacrificing a land on turn 4 at all.
Well, like I said, if you have a lot of if you don't have anything higher than that you want to cast right away, and you have a bunch of lands already, then you may want to.
No, that is the case there.
All right, so lead by example.
I'm going to lead by example and say let's not even talk about this garbage.
Trash.
I miss you, Travel Prep.
Yeah. So you need to remember, you can't put +2/+2 on one creature, which is already kind of shitty. Would be +2/+2 on a creature at instant speed for 2 is not great, but support 2 for 2, next card. Okay, Loam Larva. When Loam Larva enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it.
I don't larve it.
It gets you that wastes eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be relevant, I suppose.
Yep. I mean, it's an okay body for what it does. You know, it does. It's not card advantage, but it's
sacrifice it to the Harvester Troll later.
I will also point out that if you're low on lands, this is a way to stop yourself from having and you have a couple mana. So hey, it's fine.
That's fine. Definitely
I mean,
not.
it's hard to larva, but it's fine otherwise.
God damn it!
Ooh.
All right, natural state. No.
The natural state of this is in your sideboard.
Yeah, this is.
Natural state of this is in Legacy.
Well, yes, but also your sideboard.
Yeah, this is pretty decent in Legacy, but yeah, destroy target
I
artifact
think
or
if it
enchantment.
kills anything relevant in this set.
Yeah, I can't think of artifact or enchantment in this set that matters for 3 or less. So yeah, it's just kind of bad naturalize. Netcaster Spider.
Oh, I love you, buddy. I'm so glad you're back.
Yeah,
He's a good guy.
I love this thing.
Good spit.
It's a 2/3 for 3, which we're fine with. Now, it doesn't have flying, but remember how I said earlier, anything with flying can only be blocked by flying, or something that specifically says can block flying. That's what Reach is. Reach is, specifically, it is not flying, but it can block things with flying. It can reach up, slap them out of
It
the air.
is spit.
Yeah, and it has, if it does block something with flying, it gets +2/+0, so it can trade out for all those 4 health flyers, which are considerably more expensive than 3. So it's a decent enough answer, and on top of that, a 2/3 for 3 is fine. So this is a good card. I like this.
For some reason, all the spiders have reach. I don't know why they decided that, but they did.
Webs. They're
What do
just
you mean?
big-ass spiders
Webs.
with big-ass webs.
Webs, they live in trees. They got reach. I will point out, I'm noticing a trend that everything seems to be a 2/3 or
A 2/3 or what? You cut out for a second.
a 2/3 or a 3/2. Like everything seems to be one of the.
Yeah, it does seem to be trending pretty hard towards that. And one sec, I have to adjust a thing real quick, possibly. Let me go ahead and check that. I'll go ahead and check. What server am I on right now? Oh, no. Sorry, but I have a quick switch to make. All right, try again. Hello, everybody? Hello? Yes? Okay, cool.
Hello?
Did we lose
Yes.
someone?
No, it was just getting a tiny bit spotty for a second, so I figured in case it was a connection issue, I switched to the different server bank. Yeah, so Netcaster Spider, though, totally fine. There's a lot of 2/3 and 3/2, which is fine.
I mean, I would play probably a decent number of these, regardless. If this was my only 3-drop, I would not be broken up about it.
Yep. Nisa's Judgment. Choose up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it deals damage equal to its power to that creature. So this is
the best support card.
weird removal. It's the best support card, but it's a support card and it's weird and it costs 5.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just always going to kill your opponent's creature.
It's
will
pretty
point
much always going to kill something, yeah.
I will point out also this is the only green removal spell in this set. So, and it's on an uncommon. So green really does not have any particular removal spells on its own in this set, and when it typically has like fight cards of some kind. This is the closest we got.
Yeah, so if you're in green, this is good. If not, and it's basically a fight plus. It's just if you have 2 creatures, you have a double creature fight, but they don't take damage back. Also, you give both of them
Yeah,
+1/+1.
no deponents.
Yeah, this isn't
you're
a fair fight. This is
They
just
don't fight
this is a
back.
beating.
You gang up on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not unsurprising that Nissa's Judgment is uncommon.
Yeah, and greens are really strange in general, for removal at least. So, yeah, that's, again, I'd say that's basically fine enough.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, Pulse of Marasa.
I like this card well enough.
Yeah, regrowths are fine. This is a slightly worse one.
With a good amount of incidental life gain.
Yeah.
And it's instant. It's kind of the big thing here. If it wasn't instant, I would never play this. But as an instant, fine enough. You can do it at the end of your opponent's turn. Just bring something back to your hand. It's okay.
And instants are especially good in this block because there's so much activated abilities floating around.
Mm-hmm. All right, Saddleback Sajak.
That's not what it says, but okay.
No, I know. Saddleback. When Saddleback Sajak enters the battlefield, support 2. So this is a support that is a 3/1 for 4. Here's an example of a support that if the support doesn't go off, I'm mad. I'm mad I played this card if the support doesn't go off. If
this is not a happy lizard.
It's okay. Like, it's...
I want to get off Saddleback Sajak's Wild Ride.
Yeah, I don't like Saddleback Sajak. Not a fan.
Yeah, he's not great. I mean, the only reason you'd want this card is if you're in the and you're going really, really wide. Mm-hmm. And even then, you probably don't actually want him. You're just more like, I'm the only person that'll play this, so I guess I'll take it over some other stuff I can't play. So, yeah.
All right, Seed Guardian
is absurd.
Holy shit, a whole bunch.
Really good. So talking about cards that are good early and then are good later, here we have Seed Guardian, which is a 3/4 for 4, which is okay, a 3/4 for 4 with reach, so it can deal with those flyers. And then this also has, if there's a bunch of, like, if you do have that green-black sacrifice going in particular, if you have a bunch of shit in your graveyard, you get a fatty, or you get a medium guy, or you get something. Like, this is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
It leaves something behind.
And this also goes really well with stuff like Harvester Troll or, some of the other black, sacrifice stuff, because you can, technically turn this into an upside, like, okay, I'm going to get this massive troll and eat this guy and also, get that. And if they use something like, you say, the black pacifism on this, you just eat this, get rid of the black pacifism, you're just all upside.
Mm-hmm. It's always good to have a creature that it dying isn't really a bad deal for you. And this is one where not only is it dying not a bad deal for you, it dying could be very beneficial. So, like, this is pretty good. I like it a lot. I think this is probably the best green common uncommon we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. All right. Then we have Tajuru Pathwarden here.
He's a very good man.
Vigilance.
She's a good gal.
5/4 for 5. Fucking awesome. And it's an ally, I guess. If that's what you're into.
And it can still attack because it's got vigilance.
Yeah, it can attack. It goes over the top of stuff. It's got a little bit of damage evasion. And it can trigger ally abilities. And it's common, which is weird to me. This seems like it would be uncommon, but...
I mean,
it's one of the best commons in the...
the reason why it's common is because, like, anybody can get them.
Green has to have something.
Green has to have something, but also the fact that, like, this is 5 mana. How many 5 mana spells are you going to actually play? So, like, even if you could get a number of these, are you going to play all of these? Like, you have to fill out your other stuff, so...
Either way, though, this is good. This is a really, really good common on this. Yeah, this is a 5/4 for 5. I'd be like, 5/4 for 5 vigilance. Okay, 5/4 for 5 vigilance and trample. Yeah, and ally. Okay, like, yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, earlier we said a 4/4 with vigilance for 5 was okay, and a 4/4 with trample for 5 was okay. So
yeah, it's just that and also more. Okay, so Vines of the Recluse. Target creature gets +1/+2 and gains reach until end of turn. Untap it for 1.
I mean, as a combat trick, it's no giant growth. But on the other hand, there's some other combat tricks we've seen on this front.
Yeah. I'll play it.
It's not unreasonable.
It's okay, and the thing is, since it's got the untap, is kind of the trick there, is you can attack with your big thing, and then they'll be like, oh, good, his big thing's down, I'll attack, and then you're like, surprise, I'm actually here. And
it kills a bird.
You can eat a bird, too, which is good.
Yeah, this is...
birds are small, but...
Yeah, not super high end, but, like, it's good, it's functional.
I'll play 1.
I'd play 1, yeah. And sideboard more if they're really heavy on flyers.
If I'm not playing green.
The thing I don't like about this is that if it's Vines of the Recluse, it should have gotten Death Touch.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
It should have been the green Doomblade.
The green Doomblade, yeah, exactly. It should have gotten Death Touch. This is This is horse shit. Oh, I
All
love
right,
you, Deadly
gentlemen,
Rick.
are you ready, though? That was the end of green. Are you ready to get to the shit I'm looking forward to talking about? The stuff that I'm really excited to talk about here. Let's go to multicolored. So, Magic the Gathering, you can in fact have stuff that is multiple colors. It's been this way for some time, and a lot of times at the expense of having to pull in two different kinds of color. You have to have two different things available. They're quite good. And a lot of times these are the most exciting cards in the set, and I think that kind of holds true here. Flare Drone, right off the bat, 3 for 3/1 first strike.
I like Flare Drone.
And then it has a great enter the battlefield for everything else you cast. It's great. It's fantastic.
So you get a 3/1 first strike, and you've heard me talk endlessly about how good first strike is, and also if it's sitting there and not attacking for some reason, or even if it is attacking, every time you cast anything, your opponent starts clocking down.
Anytime you make a Scion, this triggers.
Oh yeah, it works on Scion.
I'm gonna cast, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. No, this is good. I'm a fan.
Though, to be fair, red and black don't actually have any Scion creation, I think, in this particular set. Though there are quite a lot of it in Battle for Zendikar.
Either way, a 3/1 first strike for 3 even is going to answer a ton of problems. So I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a combo I talked about a few times before. This is another card for that combo.
All right. Oops.
Anyway.
Clicked and moved my stuff. There you go. Mindmelter. This is the one that I'm kind of big on, honestly, just because it cost one blue and 1 black, which means it's in the colors I like the most of this set, quite frankly. And it's a 2/2 that can't be blocked, which I'm way into. I love unblockable creatures. They're big pieces of shit. I love them. They make people so mad because you can't do a damn thing about them. They are great. And then the ability is for 3 and a colorless, which is kind of expensive. Target opponent exiles a card from his or her hand, and you can only do it as a sorcery. So the activated ability, honestly, for the cost, isn't exciting, but as a late game repeatable mana sink, I do like that as an option. I think it's a good one, especially because it's unblockable, so unless your opponent removes it, it's gonna be hanging out.
Yep.
Well, it gets through board states, no matter it gets through board stalls, guaranteed.
Yep. So they have to have removal for this, or they're just fucked, because 10 turns. That's all it takes. 10 turns. They're dead, regardless of whatever they have on board. Unless they kill you or they're gaining life, they're dead in 10 turns.
And if for some reason you have some support triggers or anything like that, this is the best target for it. You just get everything you do just speeds up the clock. If you hit it with 2 supports, that means you have 4 damage every turn. They have 5 turns to beat you. This is the best support target. It's something that just can't be blocked, so it's just going to be a constant thorn in their side. And if they do let it live to 8, late game, where it's not as big of a thing, you can just start removing their hand. And at first, you're maybe just going to be like, oh, they have to discard a land, whatever. But if you don't have anything to play and you have 8 mana for whatever frickin' reason, you can just make them exile 2 cards. You can just shut down a play. You can shut down the other person at this point, and it's instant. Oh no, it's sorcery speed. Okay, so it's sorcery speed.
It's only sorcery.
So
otherwise, it would be
you're
ridiculous.
Really just gonna be, the only thing it's actually going to get out of your opponent's hand late game is probably going to be either bomb removal, or that they're waiting to use, or combat tricks.
Or maybe land.
Or land. Usually land. It's most of the time it's land.
So when you have the Mindmelter on the table, your opponent's going to hold land.
Yeah.
Though, to be fair, I think the most likely outcome of this card is that you're going to play it, and then they're going to immediately kill it as soon as they're able to.
Sure, but dies to removal is true for every creature. So
Well, I'm just saying, especially for this one.
Well, and here's the beautiful thing about that.
But it demands an answer, which makes it good.
And it's a 3 cost is the beautiful part of it. So all the removal we've had has been somewhat expensive, except for a few here or there. And so you're going to need to use one of those. I like this card a lot. I think this card's good as hell. I'm excited by it. I would draft this in my sleep because it's also the 2 best colors of the set, in my opinion.
You're probably not wrong.
Yeah. Next card in the multicolor, we have Void Grafter.
I like this too.
This is 1 green and a blue. devoid, flash, which flash is important. Flash means you can cast it any time, more or less. So if your opponent's like, okay, I'm going to attack with this stuff, you can be like, okay, I'm going to block. Also, I put this on the field too. Boosh. And you can do that. But what's really important here is when it enters the battlefield, so on cast, it gives another target creature hexproof, which means it can't be targeted by opponent's spells. So,
and if it's already been targeted, those spells cannot resolve.
Exactly. So if somebody were to say, like, I don't know, spend 2 black mana and go to target your creature with -4/-4, you could respond with a Void Grafter. You get the card, the Void Grafter comes into play, it's a 2/4 for 3 on your opponent's turn, neat. And more importantly, you then make it so that -4/-4 can't target the creature it wanted. So your opponent doesn't get to like choose another target, it just counters that spell.
It's a counter spell on a 2/4 body it's a counter spell, a body, a combat trick, it's everything you need.
But
even better for a tempo deck.
But even the best part about this thing is that sometimes, imagine they attack and then stupidly use their instance, removal at that point. You can give your creature hexproofs to turn off the removal. If they're attacking with 2 creatures, you can even eat those creatures if they were planning on relying on, I'm going to remove a thing. So you could potentially have the creature they're going to remove, no longer gets removed, eats one of their creatures. This guy eats one of those creatures. This is like a potential 3-for-1. And that's the edge high end. And the low end is, I only get a 2-for-1. And the one that I'm paying is I get a 3-mana 2/4. A 3-mana 2/4 flash, even if that last ability wasn't there, is really, really good. Because that's what we've been talking about. Everything that's said is a 2/3 or a 3/2. This blocks every single one of those and eats the 3/2s.
Yeah, this is a really, really good card. This is a very strong card. And you would have to splash green if you were going, blue, black or something. But
green isn't that terrible in this set, and it wasn't even that terrible in Battle for Zendikar. It was the weakest color. I think it still probably is the weakest color, but it's still livable.
I mean, it was like historically bad in Battle for Zendikar.
We've had worse examples of colors being really bad before.
Sure, but
so
I think that
it was pretty low though.
Void Grafter, good as hell, especially if it's going to be in colors. Take this damn card. It's fantastic. It shuts down so many things. Okay. Next on the list, we have the Payoff Null, which is a big boy.
So good.
0/0 Payoff.
Yeah, so he costs 4 generic, 1 black, and 1 green. And his skill is, when Payoff Null enters the battlefield, return 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. That's significant.
I want to point out that for 4 mana, 3 and a black for sorcery speed, you can get Dutiful Return, which has the same text box, and then for 2 more mana, one of them is green. You've got a 4/5 for free on it.
So yeah, you get a Yeti, and you get to take 2 things that died and make them castable again. That's super good.
This guy's really good.
He's got a great sized body too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4/5 is beautiful and all this stuff.
Attacks good, blocks good, does everything you want.
Yep, good as hell. It's good fucking card. All right, Cliffhaven Vampire.
Hello, black-white deck.
Yeah, flying 2/4. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. This works specifically in black-white, I think, too, because black almost has more life gain triggers than white did, at least in common uncommon.
Yeah.
So
white had a few activated ones, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this card is mostly fine because it's a flying Pillarfield Ox.
Yeah.
That second ability is nice, but it's pretty incidental.
I mean, if you manage to get enough stuff out of Battle for Zendikar for whatever reason, like that's where the actual payoff stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you manage to get that stuff, that's gravy. And if you happen to be in black-white, chances are you're going to have a little bit of that synergy going on anyways. And like Kavanaugh said, 2/4 for 4 in the air. Like we've said, most of the stuff attacking are either, in the air or 2 or 3 power. So they can't get through this, and some of them just can't attack.
yeah, I mean, it's just good.
Not a slam dunk like a lot of the other colors, but it is it's a
solid it's a solid pick for sure.
Yeah,
It's in black, so it's worth playing.
yeah, like I wouldn't splash for just this. I wouldn't. But it is pretty damn good. It is pretty damn good. Absolutely. And let's go ahead and move on to ones I probably wouldn't splash for sure. Joraga Auxiliary. A 2/3 for 3, one of which has to be green, one of which has to be white. That is an ally. And then very late game for 6, you get support 2.
I think that's actually much better than it looks.
Because like when you can support 2 every turn,
Yeah.
It's
that
good.
For free.
that can add up, especially in board stalls.
And especially since you can do it during their turn, and it also makes attacking kind of hell.
It does mess with combat math. Which
Yeah,
Yeah,
messes with
'cause-
combat math is the big thing.
And then you can also put this on, like, say, flyers, because white has a number of pretty good flyers and stuff even that cares about +1/+1 counters. Like, this does really well with them.
I think this is fine.
It's
fine.
not
It's fine on its body.
it's not a reason to be in these
it's
colors.
not going to put me in white green.
No.
No.
Exactly.
But if you're in those colors, this is a pretty high pick actually, and
But if you're
yeah.
white green, you're gonna get.
it's a good reason to. It's a good payoff for being in green white.
Exactly.
In
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah. When I'm looking at these, multicolors, I'm of course thinking purely from a would I be willing to put up with, and in sealed, probably not. In draft, maybe. If I'm getting a lot of this stuff passed my way, I could see myself being like, okay, that's enough.
I mean-
and I'll play.
I mean, if in sealed, if you have a bunch of like white and green like rares and mythic rares, hey, still go for it, man.
yeah,
Dragon
absolutely.
Auxiliary it's not nearly as good, but it reminds me of it was the Return of Ravnicus Halesnate Guildmage.
Yeah.
I can't really remember the name of it, but for
It was
put
God.
a
What was it
centaur on
called?
the battlefield.
Yeah.
Then for 4 mana, you could duplicate that centaur. So you can make it 3/3 for 6, and then duplicate it for 4. It was really good. And this is the same sort of thing where you can kind of just run away with the game by making your guys way too big.
V2 Ghazi Guild Mage.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Now to move on to the one that I think is
Oh,
the
God, it's my-
funniest. I love this one. This is probably my favorite of the dual cycles of
I
these
think this is my
guys.
favorite card in this entire set.
Like this fella.
What the
This is
fuck?
my favorite
is
card in
this?
the
I
set.
love this thing. This thing is awesome. It's so good. So
Mage is
Reflector
extremely
Mage
good.
for one white and one blue. When it enters the battlefield, return target creature an opponent controls to their hand, and it
I'm okay right there.
yeah,
but
and then that creature's owner can't cast spells with the same name as that creature until your next turn. So this is a bounce that kind of in an odd way frosts it in their hand?
Yeah.
I guess, which is really damning. Like, that's pretty brutal, especially if it's a big creature. Yeah. For 3? A 2/3 for 3. Okay, and then it bounce frosts? Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
It's a good man.
It's a very good man.
This is a good reason actually to be in blue white if you manage to open. I would actually I would splash for this. I would use this as an excuse to go more into blue white. Like, this is just absurd to me.
Not quite as good
you
as
could
the
first pick
last,
this
as,
depending on.
Yeah, like the one. Also, a little thing to keep in mind is that there is a small bit of flicker in this set, and flicker with this card is absurd.
Oh,
Like, it is this impossible to beat combo
just
essentially.
turn your opponent's board to their hand, and they can't do anything with
Yeah,
it.
because you flicker your Reflector Mage and you just bounce them, and they can't do shit. And then you just on your next turn you just get in. It's just nuts.
Yeah, since it's a 2-turn tempo stall bounce. Yeah, it's something that definitely you can cast recast. The most disgusting one is the one that I'll show the card after we're done with all this stuff. The one that the Eldrazi that'll push things off and then bring them back in for a cost. Fucking gross.
I will also point out with this card is that traditionally this card is Mana War, and Mana War was good as a 3-mana 2/2 that did this, and this is a 2/3 even.
Instead of
this is even
Frostbiter.
yeah, so it's even better than that.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Yep.
All right, Relentless Hunter. This is the green-red version of the cards we've been seeing, and it is one red, one green, and a 3/3 for 3. Which okay, sure. And then for 1 red, 1 green, 1 generic, the cost gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. I like it.
It's reasonable.
That's a really good threat of activation.
Yeah.
And also, like, late game, this is like, okay, if you're at like 9 mana, which you do eventually get there, particularly in board stalls, like, this is actually pretty big. Like, this is going to be, a 6/6 trample attacking, which is actually pretty hard to block in general in this set. Like, there's the Eldrazi, and that's pretty much it. And that's from your 3-drop, which is already an efficient beater, even without you activating it.
This is one that I would definitely say is I wouldn't go into red-green for it, but if I already was kind of feeling red-green possibly, I'd go for it. I'd pull this. Because
Agreed.
it's good. It's not something that's going to drag me into colors, but if I'm already like kind of in the colors, I'll be like, okay, yeah, no, this is good. Storm Chaser Mage. I mean, it's
Hello, friend.
It's really good. It's small is kind of the thing, but it's very good at being small.
But it gets in fast, and it can get bigger.
Yeah. Flying in haste, which means you just get that 1 damage on turn 1, and then you can just keep doing it over and over, and it's prowess, so if you cast anything that's not a spell, it becomes a 2/4 until end of turn, and you can just keep hitting it with it. It's a good card. If you play it and you get it out pretty quickly, it's good.
The payoff isn't exceedingly high, but it's still like in a very good card. Like, there's no like, oh man, this is crazy. Like, say Reflector Mage is, or Baloth Null, or Mindmelter, or even Flare Drone, or even Void Grafter actually. But it's just as far as a generic card goes, it's good. It's kind of like how Cliffhaven Vampire is. There's a little bit of synergy there, but just in general, it's a good card that you should be playing if you're in these colors.
And honestly, this is one that I would say is probably going to be less good in limited than it would be in other formats if they utilized it. But like,
Definitely.
it's still
Well,
it's
prowess
still
is always better in constructed than limited.
Yeah, in limited prowess is a little weaker, but it's still a 1/3 flyer for 2 with haste, which is okay.
Still really fun to play.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can say even if you get half the turn's activation, that's still like 1.5 damage a turn, which adds up. It does. Yeah, and let's go to the final of the multicolor. We have Weapons Trainer.
And it's a 3/2 for 2.
And it's a 3/2
great.
for 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
With no other relevant text.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a 3/2 for 2. Cool.
Okay,
Sometimes gives your other
Oh, it's an
creatures
ally.
a-
Sometimes
It's an ally.
it is an ally, so...
It's an ally.
sure. So I will say that you don't have to have it equipped or anything equipped, which is a benefit. So if you just have an equipment just sitting there, apparently this person's like, look at that sword that's over there on that stump. Man, guys, you should get inspired.
Please get inspired by the bone saw.
Yeah.
Don't play Bone Saw for this, but if you manage to get one of the uncommon or rare equipments, which we're actually about to talk about probably, hey, it's fine.
But like straight up here, just cut and dry. A 3/2 ally for 2. I'll take 4. Like, okay, yeah. If I'm in color, I'll take 4. Thanks. Like, no problem. All day. That's fantastic. The text is the text, so it is. And let's go ahead now and move to those artifacts where we're going to find a lot of that equipment. And oh god, that's rare. Can't show that. Here we go though.
Such
Bone
as
Saw's
Bone
ready.
Saw.
Welcome to the Bone Zone.
All right, Bonesaw, it was nice seeing you. See you later,
Yep.
man.
Bye, Bone Saw. Yeah, it's basically the most basic an equipment can get.
I'll see you again in Momir Vig.
Yeah. God damn it, Bone Saw.
Dang
At
it,
least Bone Saw's better than.
But it's free.
anyway.
No, it sucks. Like unless you're doing
Yeah,
something.
triggers
exact
prowess.
and-
to real quick explain
If
to
you
people who
could
aren't maybe
bounce it...
to people who aren't really familiar with like how like magic works, like this is a card that's free to cast and it's really cheap to equip, but the actual text on it is actually so low that you'd be better off just having a creature here anyways. So
+1
there are some synergies.
+0 is
It's just slow.
nothing. It's a surge.
There are some
Anything in this... Does anything in this set have double strike?
No.
No.
Previous
No,
set,
unless
yes.
there's a rare or mythic rare we didn't cover. No commons or uncommons do though.
Oh yeah, there's a land that does.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's right.
There are some synergies that this works with. Like it does activate Surge, and there are the equipment matters, but both of those aren't, as we've discussed already. The payoff for those isn't huge enough that there would be any value in actually playing Bonesaw. And this is the only common equipment, which doubly so makes them like not great because there's going to be a lot of these floating around, and there's no reason you should be getting them. You shouldn't pick them up.
Honestly, the thing is, I see someone saying like, "Oh, well, you have a 1/3 flyer, make it a 2/3 flyer." Fuck, man, I'd rather have a different card. Like, I'd rather have a different card.
You'd rather like a bear on the ground just sitting there. It's more value.
It's gonna get more done than that Bonesaw is. That Bonesaw is just something that even if I get it opening hand, it's just a thing I'd rather not. Because the equip does cost something. It's free to put down, but you have to pay to put it on the creature. And if in an ideal situation, I don't want to have one spare mana left. And if I have one spare mana left, I really don't want to use it to give something +1/+0.
Not to mention, equipment also has the risk of, I've got 3 Bonesaws in my hand and 4 lands. Well, I guess that's a mulligan because it does require having creatures. There's no living weapon here. So
it's not living weapon. If it was, it would be considerably better, but it's not. So moving on to other equipment. Chitinous Cloak. And this is equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has menace for 3 equip 3.
This is expensive to cast and expensive to equip, but the actual ability on it is actually pretty good.
It's also creepy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the nice thing too is the first time.
I want to wear the bug.
Yeah, let's look at that bug.
I want to wear the bug. Put the bug on my back. I'll wear it.
Give me the bug body.
Give me the bug. Bug hug.
But for sure, this thing has a really good payoff to it. It's expensive though. It is pretty slow for a late game card. This is kind of okay. Like it'll be pretty good. But
put this on like you're unblockable or on your flyer, and you're kind of like, it's double unblockable, especially in the air. It's
and you might want to say it's a 6 mana investment, but 3 mana over 2 turns is nowhere near as much as 6 mana on 1 turn. That's a really common mistake I see people make. Like flexible pay plans in Magic are huge, and still this is a bit too expensive, I think, unless you draw it late game. But it is a good ability, and Menace is wonderful. And +2/+2 is good. And the other thing, too, is this doesn't run the same risk of if they destroy the creature, you still have the first half paid for. You just have to pay the 3 again.
Yeah.
Right. Plus, the another important thing about equipment is that if a creature dies while equipped, the equipment sticks around.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. So you still pay the first... like, it stays there, so you just have to pay 3 one time and switch it over. Yeah. So, it's okay. It's not the best. Now let's talk about the best card.
There's so much you could do with 3 mana, though, that the Chitinous Cloak just kind of...
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Hedron Crawler.
I love
this cute little bastard.
Look at that little... It's just
Look at those little legs.
It's also a pretty good card.
It's fine. Like as a turn, there aren't actually that many good turn 2 plays unless you're paying a bear and like a few. Actually, no, there's actually some pretty good turn 2 plays. Mm. But if you are in like the heavy colorless deck, it's worth running one of these if you get it.
Yep.
Yeah, and remember, even though it doesn't say devoid, it does count for colorless. I know that sounds ridiculous.
Are colorless cards,
but these are colorless. So even though it doesn't say devoid, it is colorless.
You can tell that it's colorless because it doesn't require colorless mana in the mana cost.
Yeah. I will point out one other benefit of this is that this is actually pretty okay with support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can slowly make this into a creature that isn't crap.
Could equip its own Bonesaw.
Also, that colorless mana can go into not just colorless stuff. Like you can spend that on any creature. That's just ramp. It's a ramp that anybody can use.
And colorless is a good thing in this case because there are things that demand colorless as a payment cost, and you can't just pay generic. Yep. So it's got its ups and its downs. Mm-hmm. All right, Seer's Lantern.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay.
It's a fine card.
We kind of had this stuff before with Crystal Ball, I believe it was an M12. And that was didn't have the mana like generation, it just had the scry. It had more scry for cheaper. I kind of flipped the numbers here, but that was a fine card. This for the same, sort of overall cost, and if you're ramping, if you're in the Eldrazi deck, for example, this is very good. If you're in, a very heavy colorless, this is a pretty decently high pick.
It being a mana rock makes it something worth considering.
Yeah.
Sure.
Plus that Scry 1 can be very useful late game because you get to throw away the bad draws. Like
Yeah,
you can move
Scry
the top of the
becomes
library.
really good
it's
late
a
game.
Land.
Mhm.
It's a land. I just put it on the bottom of my library, so I'm drawing less lands.
Yeah, so it's good. It's totally playable. And final of the artifact common uncommons, we have Strider Harness.
Reprint.
Mm-hmm.
I like this card a lot.
Dragon's Turkey?
I believe it was actually Scars of Mirrodin.
Yep. It's common in Scars.
Yeah, it's actually pretty decent. It's a bit expensive to get on the field, but yeah, late game, you just dump it on you dump your bomb out, you immediately equip it for really cheap, and you just go to town. I mean,
Once it's on
not
the
a
field,
reason.
it just makes one colorless give something haste and +1/+1.
Yeah.
It's fine.
There's no reason to go into a deck because of this, but if you get it, and you don't have, a creature that's more playable, it's fine. It's like some of the stuff we've talked about being like, average. This is maybe a little bit of a low end of an average, but it's still average.
All right. And
I'm not thrilled to play it at all.
Yeah.
Are you ready for what's going to be one of the shortest portions? It is only 5 uncommons and commons of the colorless, non-devoid, non-artifact cards.
It's because most of these are rare and mythic and
They're almost all
deserving.
rare and mythic rare,
Yeah.
because they're the big Eldra. These are where the bad motherfuckers live. But so first off, we have Kozilek's
This is where the
Pathfinder.
Cthulhu Satans are.
Exactly. Kozilek's Pathfinder. Yeah, a 5/5 per 6.
I like
is mediocre, but then the colorless mana making it not be able to be blocked by something is good.
I will say, while a 6-mana 5/5 is mediocre, that's actually bigger than most things we've already seen in the set. Like
Exactly.
this set has considerably less beef than Battle for Zendikar had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And also worth noting, it's 6 generic men. So
Yeah, so anybody can play it.
there's no reason. There's no reason. If you need a 6-drop, this is fine.
Yep.
And I have cast my share of Gold Forge Sentinels.
Oh, I guess since we mentioned it, the way that rarity works in Magic is you have common, which are basically it's how many cards of each you get in a pack. Common you get like 9 in a pack. Uncommon you get 3 in a pack. Rare you get 1 in a pack, and mythic rare you get 1 in 8 in each pack, or like 1 out of every 8 packs you open.
And there's also a foil which can be of any rarity. There's also typically a basic land, which is normally of very low importance, but there's sometimes weird stuff that certain sets do. And another weird aspect of this particular set in particular is that it's possible in place of the foil to get an expedition, which can be a certain land card that is not actually from the set entirely, that are often actually pretty good for limited purposes. So also they're all worth like $200+.
Yeah,
So
if you open them in paper. If you open them online, they're worth much less.
yeah, online they're actually worth the price of whatever card they actually are, which is kind of funny because you can't redeem them.
Yeah.
All right, so Spatial Contortion.
This is
Hey there, Nameless Inversion.
Nameless Inversion has been a really good card. The issue with this is that it's hard to get that colorless on the cost.
Yeah, the colorless on
And
the
if you
cost is-
have enough colorless sources, then
I mean, this is an auto pick.
definitely good.
Mhm.
But
I mean, to be fair, this isn't terrible later in the game because at least you could pick off one of the dudes because again, stalled board states pick off when they're dorks that are just doing something spell like when they're cohort guys. Just pick one of those guys off. That's not the end of the world. Yeah. Or you shrink one of those guys when they're bigger guys down so you can attack in. It's an option.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as good as the Nameless Inversion, but it's still fun.
Yeah, if you have the cost, I'd say it's worth it. Walker of Wastes is a 4/4 for 4 and a colorless, which is a
Tricky.
little rough. That colorless is weird because we're gonna have to. That's one thing I can't say for certain how hard it is gonna be to get that. In limited, in constructed, it's probably not gonna be a problem because so many people are running lands that have colorless as an option anyway.
in constructed, you can play wastes if you need to.
Yeah, that too. Walker of the Wastes.
Well, keep in mind in your Battle for Zendikar packs, you will get a lot more spawn, which can also support these.
That's
Well,
true.
there's a weird ass bug.
Yeah, this is a weird one. It gets +1/+1 for each land you control named Waste. The thing is, a 4/4 trample for 5 in limited is, again, as we've said a bunch, acceptable.
If I have a waste, it's already like above the curve.
Yeah, if we have a single waste, it's a 5/5, like on field, but it's good. If you have the cost and you are confident in your ability to get it out on turn 5, then yeah. It's not
Or
an
sooner
auto
with
5/5. I'd like to correct the person in chat. It is not an auto 5/5. You can pay that colorless symbol with anything that generates the number 1. Always.
Well, what used to be the color number 1,
Or
but now
what
is
used
diamond.
to be the number 1, which is now diamond. Or if you sacrifice a scion or something. So there's a shitload of things. It doesn't have to be waste specifically to pay for that. It's just it cannot be a colored mana source. It has to be something that before now could only be used to pay generic. Yeah. So it is not an auto 5/5. It quite often would probably come out as a 4/4 with trample. But if it does come out as a 5/5 with trample, okay. But I'm really hesitant to play wastes unless my deck is really going to benefit from them.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's upside here, but you definitely shouldn't be trying to go I'm going to draft all the wastes because there's not enough
You
colors
need to have
to support it.
cards to cast with your land.
Yeah, because there's not enough colorless to really support it across both sets. You are going to have to play some amount of devoid, even in colorless. Ironically enough.
Yep. Warden of Geometries, Vigilance, and tap to add a colorless to your mana pool, and it's a mana dork. It costs 4. Does that special colorless we need, and has Vigilance, so it's a 2/3 that can attack and then also do that thing. I like this card a lot.
Also,
I'm okay with it.
Cards.
He's also just a ramp in every color. If any color wants a ramp, they got it.
Yeah, this guy is.
See, that's kind of the downside with counting on cards like this to ramp you up. If you have colorless cards to use, it's that anybody can still use this, just like Chandler Kozilek in Battle for Zendikar.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Warden of Geometries is probably my favorite Magic card name in a long time. What is a geometry, and how are you a warden of it?
Just shapes.
Well, the whole point of Kozilek is that they warp space, so it's warping, spatial things. So it's him saying no, space doesn't work that way anymore. I say that way. Math has ceased to exist that way. Non-Euclidean geometry.
Warden of Geometries. It's a good name. That's all I want to say. The creature's fine.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. And last of the common uncommon in the colorless, non-devoid, non-artifact. It's a warping wall.
Non-land.
These are also
Non-land.
colorless,
Fuck.
by the way.
Yeah. This one.
Eldrazi Charm is actually surprisingly pretty good.
It is.
It's hard to
just
cast.
odd.
That's what they're aiming for, Eldrazi.
True enough.
But it's an interesting card. It's very particular. The 1 power and toughness it's the one probably. It's actually both the first and third abilities are actually of the least use in limited. That first ability is actually extremely good and constructed, but that's there's not much 1 toughness stuff that you're necessarily going to want to hit with as there's maybe there's a few 3/1s.
It could be powers.
There's a few 1 power
flyers
things
and
that
1/4s,
can get annoying.
Yeah, I guess there's some stuff you can get with it, but with charms like these, it's just gravy. Even if it is a narrow thing, because usually there's one of these abilities that's still fine. I think this is playable if you're heavy on colorless. But you'd have to be pretty heavy on colorless because counter magic is already very hard to hold up. Imagine having to hold up a color that is something that is you're barely splashing at all. That's very tricky.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of it in limited at the very least. I'm not sure how to play in constructed, but in limited, not so good. I don't think.
In constructed, that first ability can hit everything that involves what is it called? Oh God, why am I blanking on this? I know this.
Hobgoblin.
Splinter. No, all the Splinter Twin stuff. It can hit all the creatures that are using Splinter Twin.
Okay.
Well, no, there's some that still they've shifted to. There are a few builds that Splinter Twin that use Bounty Crests now.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah,
right. Cool
they're
guy.
used in part because this type of stuff's come about. Yeah, it's not super common, but yeah, this hits the
That's
non-bounty
also
crisis
why
ones.
the Kiki Jiki Resto Angel combo is coming back too.
Yeah.
All right, let's close this bad boy out here. We've got lands, shockingly, and then I do want to go double back real quick and look at the black rares and mythic rares because I think they're fun. So let's burn through these lands. Should be real easy. Cinder Barrens enters the battlefield tap, adds a black or a red. If you're playing,
If you're in black or red, you're playing it.
It's good. Play it. Okay. Crumbling Vestige enters battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and then after that, it's colorless. I would play this.
If you're playing devoid, especially, or have off-color activate, this is pretty good.
This is good. It comes in and gives you whatever color you need once, and then after that, it makes colorless, which is also good. I would run this, and it's common, so look for that. Here is another one. Holdout Settlement. You tap and add a colorless, or you tap and tap an untapped creature and add 1 of any color. It is a colorless source that has the option to give you a color if you're desperate. Okay.
For a common land, I actually don't mind that at all.
No, that's quite good for a common land. Okay. Meandering River. Enters the battlefield tapped. Add 1 white or 1 blue after it untaps. If you are playing white and blue, you will want to play Meandering River. Next card. Submerged Boneyard. It enters the battlefield tapped, which means you cannot get land points from it on the first turn. And then after that, you can add 1 black or 1 blue to your mana pool. If you are playing blue and black, which you should be, you should play this card.
You should also play because there's a cool whale on it.
To sell us on something.
Huh?
When did Ty turn into a 12-year-old trying to sell us on something?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just these are like so basic. It's just like God. Like it's just it gives you what this is just. You have an option. You wait a turn and you trade your 1 turn for having to not worry about other things. So pretend I'm still doing the voice for the next Timber Gorge. Are you doing red and green? Cool. You play Timber Gorge. Tranquil Expanse. Cool. Are you doing green or white? Cool. You'll want to play these, and these also help you splash too. If it is something
Unknown Shores, I will say that the next one, we've had this one in the past, and it's actually exceedingly not good. It might be better here, but in the past, it's actually been pretty bad as a fixer.
I think just
Basically,
because
this
it
is
taps
just-
for a colorless mana
It
makes
wastes.
it more relevant now.
It's a waste.
It's better now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. If you would put a
Because
waste in your
colorless
deck,
is so useful here.
this is fine. Yeah.
Whereas before, that tap for 1 meant really you could only pay for generic costs. Here, there's actual use for that, where you actually want to be able to produce that colorless. So I think that it actually pushes up its playability.
Better than wastes.
it's better than waste and it's better than nothing. But at the same time, only do this if you're actually going into like where you need the colorless. Like, don't use this as like 2-color fixing. If you're in green white and you don't actually have any need for colorless mana, don't play this.
No, you play this as a forest that can tap for like other types of mana as well. You don't play this as an off-color card that can tap for any color of mana.
Yeah, don't use this as fixing unless you're doing colorless.
So
fixing.
here's one of the pictures of waste that I think is quite nice. That's the full art one. Here's another picture of waste that I think is quite nice. Here's another half art picture of waste I think is quite nice. And here is the full art wastes, which is my favorite of wastes. That's that one. How about that?
See the ones with all the stuff that looks like I got all skeletonized. That's the Ulamog waste. That's the waste that Ulamog makes.
Yep.
Whereas the ones that look like Bismuth, that's Kozilek.
Mm-hmm.
Kozilek is the better one, so
Yeah.
Yep. Important thing about there being 2 different copies of waste here. That means you can open a pack and actually have 2 wastes in it.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
can you?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they're 2 separate cards, so they appear twice on the sheet, so they can appear in the same pack twice.
Yeah, they don't appear in the basic land slot.
Oh, wait. I
So
thought
basically
wastes were
means that
basic land
because-
slot.
They're not they're common slot. I just didn't know that you could get 2.
Oh.
And that means that
Yeah,
there's actually 5 common lands that tap for colorless.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, quick summary before we go to our little bonus bit of looking at the fun rare mythic rares in black. I mean, on the whole, sealed, obviously, you're going to want to play what you want, but fuck, man, black and blue look really good this time around.
Yeah, they do.
Yep. Though, to be fair, in sealed, you kind of want to play everything that you want. Like, you get bombs. If the bombs are high and large enough, you just play them. Like, if you're in black and blue and you open up, say, like Nissa, you might, if you have enough fixing, you're not wrong for trying to still play her, though. That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
If you have the fixing, you want to play as many bombs as you can, because synergies kind of mean much, much less beyond just pure card power.
Yeah.
But I would take a good look at your blue and your black, because that's where a lot of your powerful commons and uncommons are going to be. Most likely.
Yeah. I'm kind of just a big fan of a lot of it in the first place. It's pretty good. But yeah, black's ridiculous, blue's ridiculous, but if you're choosing between, just take that into account. In draft, honestly, I think it's going to be like drafting into blue is going to end up being long-term the best strategy, if that makes sense and or is believable. Just for the sake of, I think people are going to be aware that black is the best one pretty quickly.
I don't actually believe in really going into draft colors in mind, because it's very much, particularly, it's more about just picking cards that you see are the best in the pack and sort of reading what you have. It's fine to abandon early picks and lose a little bit of value, because your early picks are not more important than your following, 40 picks. Like, your first two picks shouldn't dictate the following 40 that follows. Yeah. Because you can completely, I have in cases in the past, like, realized late in the first pack, like, oh, I need to completely change colors, and then I switched in the second pack. And that can, in fact, pay off. Like, the longer you can stay open, the better.
Yeah. In sealed, though, just look for it. And reasons I'm not going over rares is because rares, in general, on the whole, have much longer times to discuss them. And on top of that, in a draft, you can't really expect to see more than 3. And it kind of varies so wildly on what ones you get that it's more important to know about the other cards, really. Because, like, I have seen a deck entirely of uncommons and commons annihilate a deck with, like, 1 or 2 good rares.
I have one drafts that any rares in it.
Most of my drafts actually don't have rares in them.
Let's not drafting for money.
Yeah, so for limited sets, that's pretty common. So let's go ahead now.
It is worth paying attention, know what rares and mythics are in the set. So pay attention to what they are before you go into your pre-release or to your draft.
All right.
Because you need to make sure.
Jeb was roboting pretty hard, but he was just saying that, just pay attention to what rares are there, because there are really fucking good rares. There's also really bad rares, so.
Let's look at some of them now.
Because a lot of the rares are intended for not limited. Like, you get a lot of cards that are like, oh, this is casual constructed, or intended for constructed in general, or, for, like, commander, or, even weirder things like this. There's certain rare occasion you get that are like, okay, this isn't actually intended for any particular format. It's just there because we thought certain people would find it funny. Like, you occasionally get cards where they're just like, this card is actively bad, but its badness is cute. Like, what the classic example is like One with Nothing, where it's one black mana for discard your hand. That's it.
Yeah.
And then it's there just because
It activates Hellbent.
Card. Yeah, sure. And there are certain decks that kind of try to fuck with you having too many cards, I guess. But like, those narrow cases are extremely narrow, and it's more just because it's something for people to laugh at, basically. Like, man, I opened One with Nothing. God damn it!
Man, isn't this card really bad? Bet you can't make it good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, people want to try with certain stuff. Like, the example of this.
We are hitting 12:30. I do kind of want to run through these and wrap it up for the night.
Yes, sure.
Here in the East Coast. So Bearer of Silence, amazing.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He just eats a guy, and he's also an efficient flyer.
2/1 flyer for 2, okay, and then if you pay 4, one of which has to be colorless, then that isn't 4 total. Your opponent just picks something and it dies. Cool. Let's see, Dread Defiler. A 6/8 for 7, a big boy, and he has
He's a rude boy.
And he's very rude. You can exile things. You can exile creatures from your graveyard and punch your opponent in the face with them. That's a really good late game ability.
It's a fling from your graveyard. Like,
It's a fling
my God.
from your fucking graveyard. He is a very good boy. Inverter of Truth. So this is mythic rare. This is incredibly expensive. You probably, or it's rare.
love
You
this
probably won't see
card.
one.
This is going to actually be like $1 card, but
I love this.
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't mean expensive. I meant expensive. I meant rare. Sorry, like in your the chances of you seeing this in a sealed or draft are incredibly low.
If you see it, make it work. I dare you.
The ability.
this is the card I'm actually looking forward the most to in this entire set.
Yes. So this is a 6/6 flyer for 4, which is fucking amazing. But what it does is crazy. You take your deck, and you don't even get to look at it. You just take your deck and move it over into the own zone, and then you take your graveyard and all your dead shit, shuffle it up, and that's your deck now. Okay.
Which there's all these super interesting ways you can play around with this. And try to get good cards in your graveyard, and then those are in your library, so you know what you're drawing, good cards. Or there's certain stuff that you care about your library. You know, the example that most people talk about, man, I want to play with this and Laboratory Maniac.
Or you can just put your boat in the face 4 times in 6/6.
Sure.
And
I mean, there's lots of stuff that you could...
You know, most things that fly, didn't go above 3 or 4 power toughness.
6/6.
This is 6/6 that flies.
6/6.
This is for limited. This I don't know if this is actually particularly good unless you're sitting on this in your hand for a while.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
in which
as like a turn 10 bomb, this is.
I'm pretty okay with a 6/6 flyer for on turn 10.
Yeah, you just make sure at that point, make sure you're trading as many creatures as you can with opponents, because you do want actually to have like some stuff in your library. If only because if they remove your Inverter Truth the second you cast it, you don't have a lot of cards to work with. Your cards that you'll have will be good because they'll be creatures, and you can choose what order they go in there. Or wait, no, you don't. They shuffle. You don't have any choice. But be careful.
Yeah. So that's an iffy one, but for draft. But holy shit, what a fun card! Sifter of Skulls, a 4/3 for 4.
Absurd.
Okay. The Void. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 Scion in, which is the 1/1 colorless dude who you can sacrifice for a colorless mana. What the fuck? This is also fantastic. This is real good.
We actually had this card at 3 mana previously in Rise of the Eldrazi, and it could also include itself, and that was getting 0/1s, which are considerably worse, as it turns out, than 1/1s.
Mm-hmm. And they were already fantastic.
Yeah, and that card was good, and that was also a 3 mana 2/2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's a 4 mana 4/3. Even ignoring the abilities, it's fine.
Draina's Chosen, a 2/2 4. That's but the cohort, if you get it rolling, is quite good.
This is one of those weird cases where like the cohort, the body isn't good enough for me to want to play it on its own.
Exactly. This is the one that I gotta say I would not actually play this in limited.
I mean, I think the ability is good enough. Like if you are heavy enough in the benefit of this card being so mediocre, though, is that if other people don't pick it and you're in the deck, you don't have to first pick it. Like if you end up in the deck that this is for, you'll get it at rare too, which is good. And another thing I've seen a lot of people focus on is the fact that this is pretty much a strictly worse version of a card from Innistrad that was at rare. There was a flying, 4 mana 3/3 flyer that put out 2/2 vampire tokens.
That card was nuts.
That card was nuts, and people were like, "Man, this card's so much worse than this," and that is very true. This card is still like the power of this card is still there if you're able to support it.
Yeah, if you have the
getting
allies to back
2/2s
it,
every turn.
Yeah, if you have allies to back it, this is pretty good.
And what color has the best common and uncommon allies to enable that with?
Yeah, and to answer the question, someone's asking which one's rare, which one's mythic rare. This yellowy gold symbol, the little thing that kind of looks like a pen nib on the side, all the way to the right next to Vampire Shaman Alley. Jesus Christ. Shaman Alley.
It's about boy Shaman Alley.
God, it's 12:30. I've been talking about cards for 4.5 hours. That's regular rare. This is mythic rare. Also, this is Kalitas, Traitor of Gel. Hello. This is
also he's our first legendary creature.
Also, he's a legendary creature. So, he is a 3/4.
Jesus
for
Christ.
4, which is good. He has lifelink, which is good. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and put a 2/2 on the battlefield. So if you kill something your opponent controls, you get a Zambi. And then for 3, you can sacrifice a different vampire or Zangi and make Kalitas bigger, which would be something I don't find quite as good, except he has lifelink, and I really want him alive.
Also, the other interesting thing about that particular ability is that this also just means that if they ever try to do something funky at your other dudes, just eat them. Like you can chump their guys, like their attackers, with your zombies, and then just eat your zombies. They don't do damage to you because they got blocked by the zombie, and then Kalitas just gets bigger.
And here's the important thing, is the way that resolves is, if someone's attacking you, then you block them, and then like you have declared blocking. If something kills the blocker, the attacker is still swinging at that blocker and not at your face, more or less. Like once something has become blocked, it is blocked and will not be swinging at you, even if at instant speed or ability speed, which would be the case that Zorak's talking about here, it still isn't going to be swinging for you. So if like you're going to swing at something, at one of my zombies, and then it's like, okay, I'll block you with a zombie, then I make it vanish, this guy gets +2/+2, and your shit still doesn't do damage. So
the only exception to this is if the creature has trample, in which case you just kind of owned yourself because they're just going to hit you for extra hard.
The full damage, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So watch for trample.
But holy shit, yes, play this. Okay, yeah. I think it should go without saying, but play this. Fucking play this. If you get this, play this. Mm-hmm. And the final. This is a regular rare. I probably should have ended on the other guy last. I'm an idiot. Hindsight and all that. This is still good, though. Remorseless Punishment. It is a sorcery for 5. Target opponent loses 5 life unless they discard 2 cards or sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. Repeat this process once.
So traditionally, this kind of card is actually pretty bad because they'll always choose the thing that's most beneficial to them, not you, which tends to be pretty mediocre. But the thing is that both sides of this card are actually rather unconditional. So unless they don't have creatures, that.
So
that
what
sucks.
this card says is your opponent discards 2 cards.
Well, 4 cards.
4 cards.
Well, no, by the time you're casting it,
They don't have 4 cards.
Well, right, but
2
So
cards.
the thing is, they have to discard 2 cards, and if they can't, they have to sacrifice a creature or planeswalker, and if they can't do that either, they have to lose 5 life.
Yeah. So they actually don't have diminishing choices when you have the repeat.
Yeah, you can't.
So, like,
you can't decide.
so like if they only have 1 card in hand, they can't discard that 1 card to pay for that.
Yeah, this is actually the best Punisher card they've ever made, I think, to some degree, other than Vexing Devil. Vexing Devil is pretty good still. Vexing Devil.
And that's kind of the thing is, whereas discard 2 cards isn't that big a deal, discard 4 cards, where if it was just discard 4 cards, it wouldn't be very good, because then you'd go for 4 and they'd, like, let's say only have 2 cards in hand, then you just, wasted a bunch of mana. But discard 4 cards, or if you can't have this happen, or if you can't have this. The only problem here is if they do have a lot of small creatures, which is pretty common in limited.
Especially in this set.
Especially in this set.
Well,
it's
in
not
Zendikar, at least.
Not quite so great. But
at the same time, 5 mana, sacrifice 2 creatures, lose 5 life. Pretty decent. The issue here is that it's going to be always... Oh, 8 creature, you're right. Yeah.
So it's not as good, but it's still really good in limited.
It's
if you're
better
going...
than I thought, because I thought that you could choose the discard effect without having cards to discard.
Nope. It is unless you do. So if you can't...
But
then...
it's still, as a Punisher effect, it's still, you're going to get the worst possible outcome.
Yeah.
Assuming your opponent knows what the worst possible outcome is.
True. Also, in limited... this is going to be a lot better, because whereas in constructed you probably have a lot more kind of wiggle room and choices and shit, but in limited not so much. And even for 5 mana, destroy 2 creatures is okay. That's still acceptable. There's not really a bad outcome. Nope. I wouldn't be ecstatic to run this, but in sealed, if you're playing a black deck, it's probably a decent inclusion.
I mean, in sealed, it's actually better than usual, just because the life gain thing is like often people just want the life gain anyways because you don't care. In sealed, like that sort of effect is even better. Like lava axes are better in sealed.
Mm.
There's just so many better black cards to play.
That's
Yeah.
that's the real issue here. Is
That's
that
completely
yeah?
fair.
Yeah, like I don't know, Kalitas, Traitor of Ghet.
Yeah, if you open them.
Oh
But-
god, I want to open that guy.
Yeah, I know. It's like, damn, like man, I really want to open that motherfucker so bad. There's so many good things. So either way, that is that's the commons and uncommons in all of Oath of the Gatewatch. We also went through black rares and mythic rares. Thanks so much, guys, for showing up on short notice and being willing to fucking throw away 4.5 hours of your life rambling back and forth with my dumbass about cards. And yeah, thanks for coming out. Again, it was Debrench, Kavanaugh, and Zorak. Their names have been on screen the whole time. Hopefully, if you need to read them. But yeah, do you guys have anything you want to plug, I guess, even though I'm not a huge outlet? Let's place.
I don't have anything going Let's Play as well at the moment, anyways. I will say that hey, I wrote a godly amount of words on Game of the Year type stuff at my Tumblr, which I think is essaysdirect.tumblr.com. If you want to read words, hey, there's a bunch of words there. Like 10,000 words on every game I played last year. That's fucked up.
Jeez. That would be like 3-something million words for me. But oh god.
Well,
I guess-
every game I played to completion or to point of fuck this.
Mhm.
You could, like, I guess, keep an eye on my tweet zone. At some point in the next few months, I'll be posting my senior project for school, which will be a video game. So if you're interested in that, I guess. It's
No
not
one
up
here
yet,
likes video games.
but-
I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I guess. Ugh.
Speaking of not liking video games, I'm a games journalist. I write for indiegames.com, so
Yeah.
you can read what I write about video games if you want.
Yeah, very cool. I'm a jackoff who does videos for the internet, and that's it. I'm the worst. But yeah, so again, thanks for joining me, guys. Seriously, this was obviously a huge commitment of your time. I appreciate it a ton, and I feel way more confident going into Friday at midnight and Saturday whenever I can manage to convince people to go as well. Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks everyone for hanging out and watching all night. Way more people than I thought. And if people like this enough, fuck, we might do it again. Who knows? But yeah, thanks. I'll talk to you guys later. See you later. Stream.